Hello, and welcome to Stage Screen and In Between with Helen. I'm Helen Primus. Thank you for tuning in. Today we have a spectacular guest. He's about to have a brand new movie open called The Fifth Borough, and we have Steve Stanulis with us. He's a wonderful actor, a director, and a producer. Steve, thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here, Helen. And I'm super excited about this new film. And I can't believe it's 3 days away. So we're getting primed up.
I know, and you're getting a lot of PR, and it really has something to do with health, and it has to do with your daughter that gets ill. And right now, with the pandemic, et cetera, we're dealing with so many health issues. You know, I think it's probably going to hit home on a lot of different levels, right?
Sure. Like I said, it's without giving the whole story away. First of all, you throw us a lemon, we make lemonade. So this whole unfortunate COVID-19 has really, kind of really hurt and shut everything down, unfortunately. I got 3 kids, young kids, homeschooling, all that stuff is crazy. But for this particular film, the synergy's been right because of COVID-19. The film has been getting so much press, you would think we were the Avengers. Because, again, everybody's looking for new content.
Right.
And we would probably get usually, if it was business as usual, we would probably get a quarter of the press we're getting. But, I mean, we're doing Good Morning America, Good Day New York, Wendy Williams, Extra, Access Hollywood. I mean, usually we would get a quarter of that. So, again, we got lemons thrown at us. We made lemonade. And for that, I'm grateful. And again, it's a great cast. Coming from Staten Island, it was brought to my attention that there's a heroin epidemic. Obviously, around the city, there's a big heroin epidemic. But out of all the 5 boroughs, Staten Island is the #1 borough of overdoses, which is crazy because of the amount of people that live on Staten Island compared to Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and the Bronx. Yeah. So that's what kind of inspired the story. And it is basically about Nico. Nico is my character, who used to be in a life of crime. He kind of straightened himself out. His teenage daughter has cancer, and he doesn't have enough money to cover the insurance. So he has to kind of go back to his old ways. And his wife is a sergeant in the NYPD, who's Tara Reid, so he's got to kind of tread lightly. But again, he does it for the right reasons. But it gets too deep in.
Yeah, so let's go back a minute and give people your background, because you were affiliated with NYPD, correct?
Yeah, I was a police officer for 7 years, and I got injured and tore my ACLs. I didn't get nothing crazy. I didn't get shot or anything. But again, it's those, with everything going on right now, unfortunately. This whole COVID-19 kind of unified everybody for a while, and to me, doing the acting, producing, directing, dealing with everybody. It's fun, and it's something I'd love to do. But policemen, firemen, EMS, teachers, all these essential workers, doctors, nurses, they're real heroes. And it's unfortunate that this is going on right now. But with the gentleman who just lost his life with all these protests. But it's seeing it now from an outside looking in, it's crazy because there's no excuse for that officer at all. But there's, just in New York City, there's 38,000 cops alone. So one bad one doesn't mean worldwide. Every cop is bad. And again, it's a shame, and it's a shame what we're going through. And hopefully now everybody starts to subside, because now it's getting a little silly, because now people are kind of doing this for other reasons. You know what I mean? If you want to honor somebody.
Let me just ask you, you were a writer, you wrote this, didn't you?
No, I create a lot of the concepts. I don't write them. I tell the writer.
Was it John Bianco?
John Bianco wrote it. And then I gave the concept that he would do it. And then basically I'd go back and say, hey, let's change this, let's do this, whatever. But yeah, John had written that one, and he did a great job. And that's probably the third script we've done together.
Oh, so now how long ago did you get this together? When did you finish filming this?
Well, Fifth Borough originally was made as a series that was going to NBC. And that was the only time I ever pre-celebrated something before it happened. And if anybody is not familiar with a network, it's like a casino. There's not one person that makes the final decision. So when I was ready to sign the contract, in the 11th hour, they found out it was too close to Shades of Blue, which was the big show at the time with J-Lo and Ray Liotta. So they nixed it. And then one of the people from NBC went over to Netflix, reached out to me and said, hey, you still have the Fifth Borough available? And I said, yeah. And he's like, we'd love to have you do it. And that's how we got reconnected. So originally it was done in 2016, but we shot it back in 2018.
Oh, okay. So how was it working with Tara Reid? Because she's a well-known actress.
Well, the whole cast. I mean, I want to talk about Tara too, but we have James Russo is in it, who's a legend. Al Sapienza, who's phenomenal. Yes. He's has a phenomenal career. Lilo Brancato, from Bronx Tale. It goes on and on. Constantine Maroulis from American Idol. Federico Castelluccio, Audrey Landers, Sean Young.
Wow. Great cast.
Yeah, it goes on and on and on. I'm sorry if I'm leaving anybody out, but everybody did an amazing job. Vincent Young. But Tara was a blast. I mean, Tara and I, it was funny, and it wasn't set up that way. The first scene of the film, there was an incident on her way in where she had thrown off the plane because she wanted her dog, and there was a whole
I heard about that.
Yeah, so that was the day coming to set. So first of all, I didn't even know if she was going to make it. And she was a trooper, and she did. And our first scene, coincidentally enough, was a love scene. So we just shook hands, nice to meet you, and next thing you know, we were laying in bed having a love scene. But the cool thing about that was it kind of broke the ice, and the chemistry between us for the rest of the film was phenomenal. And she's one of my dearest friends today. I mean, if I go to LA, I'll crash there, or if she comes here, we always make sure we meet. So Tara's awesome. She did a phenomenal job.
Right.
It was something that was way out of the box for what she's done before in her career, playing an NYPD sergeant. And she did a phenomenal job. I can't say enough about Tara Reid.
That's wonderful. Now, when you were in the process of making this, did you have script changes, and did it change direction, or were you pretty focused on where you wanted to go with this?
Yeah, it was interesting because obviously when we had wrote it originally, it was a TV show. So we have 13 episodes with storylines that have to get developed over 13 episodes. We're going into a feature film. Now we have to get those 13 episodes and bring it down to 90 minutes. So yes, there was a ton of rewrites due to the fact that we had to condense 13 hours of script to 90 minutes. So there was a lot of rewrites. Unfortunately, some great people had to get cut out because they didn't make sense in the film as they would have in a TV structure form.
Yeah. So now, what does your family think about you being an actor? And it must have been difficult for you too, because weren't you director too and actor in this?
Yeah. Yes. Again, unfortunately, sometimes when you're doing films under $1 million, it's this thing. The three biggest sometimes salaries go to the main producer, the director, and one of the lead actors. So we figured if I could tackle all three, it would be easier, and obviously we could put the budget other places. Also, I'm from Staten Island. The crew were all phenomenal. They're all East Coast guys. So my crew of guys in the film, it felt like we were together forever. So they made my job easy, and my DP has worked with me on my last 3-4 films, so he kind of knows what I'm going for. So he kind of watches the camera, and if there's something he doesn't like, if I'm on camera that I can't see, he'll take me to the side. So luckily we have something good where we have a structure on how things get done when I'm in front of the camera. So it worked out on this one anyway.
That's good. Now, how much of an impact does what the write-ups say about it on the viewing?
Well, again, I'm not a big festival guy. So I'm not a big, run around and do 50 film festivals unless I'm going to like a Sundance or a Cannes. Luckily, God has been great. And most of the films before we shoot already have a pretty good distribution deal. So usually you go to a film festival to get some notoriety, so you're hoping somebody comes and picks you up. Where if you already have one, it's really counterproductive, because if you have one person that goes and watches it and doesn't have either good intentions or just doesn't like the film, and they start killing the film before it comes out, social media is a powerful thing. So it's really not good to have anything negative come out about the film prior to the film coming out. So that's the reason why I don't like to show it.
June 3rd is the release date, and where are we going to see that?
Well, unfortunately, it was supposed to open up around the country in about 40 or 50 theaters, but due to COVID-19, obviously that's not happening. So it's going on demand first. So anybody, if you have Verizon, it's on Fios, DirecTV, Comcast, anywhere where you can buy a new film that's coming from the theaters, you can rent it or you can buy it. And then after 90 days, it'll go to Netflix. So that's right. It'll be on demand on the 3rd. So we're all excited. We're going to try to do like a virtual premiere. But it's just a shame because it's part of the whole thing, doing the whole red carpet and stuff. But what are you going to do?
Well, you seem to have reinvented yourself a few times. At what point did you decide, I want to be an actor?
Again, I was a police officer. I ran into a gentleman who basically lived with DiCaprio when he was at Leo, when he was in New York. And basically said, would you be interested in working some security? And I said, oh, sure, let me know. Right? And the very next day he calls me. He said, Leo wants to meet you. So I show up, and Leo's there. He just did Titanic. And we kind of have nothing in common. I don't really have any aspirations at that point to do any of that. I was happy where I was, and he's like one of the biggest stars in Hollywood. And I ended up tearing my ACL, like I said, and he actually tore his ACL in Basketball Diaries. So he said, do you mind if I see your scar? And I said, sure, as long, I put my pants down, and I'm sitting in my underwear, and that broke the ice. So I started going out with them, whatever they did, I did, and I started meeting people. I ran into a gentleman who was doing a film called The Replacements with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman, and he asked me if I played football. I'm like, yeah, I played in high school. He's like, you'd be great to play the backup quarterback. I'm like, okay. So the next week I'm in Baltimore, and I'm shooting a film with Keanu Reeves and Gene Hackman. I had like one or two lines, but I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I worked on another film, and then all that access kind of went away from me. But now I had the bug, and now I had to start doing things that everybody else has to do, like audition and get an agent and and meet. So that's what I did. And then I just I'm not the type of person to sit around and wait for the phone to ring and wait for my agent to call. So if there was a big span of time between calls, I would just say, F it. Let me create my own stuff. And I sort of create my own stuff, shorts, doing the festival thing. And then
name some of your other films, Steve.
Films that I've done, like
that you've been in.
Well, I mean, TV. I've obviously. I think the whole world is on The Sopranos. The Deuce. I now pronounce it Chuck and Larry. Interpreter with Sean Young. I'm sorry, Sean Penn and Nicole Kidman. I'm trying to think of the mainstream ones. Replacements, Gangs of New York. And then recently, again, we did a film that just came out last year. It did really well, a horror film with Clinton Rowe, which I directed, Ice-T was in it, Vincent Pastore, Eric Roberts. And then I just finished a new movie called Chronicle of a Serial Killer, which is coming out in September, which has Brendan Sexton, James Russo, DMX.
Yeah, did Donna McKenna cast that? She does a lot of casting.
Yeah, Donna does all my casting.
Yeah, she's cool, Donna.
Donna's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And Donna shares my energy. And she might be the only person that's more 100 miles an hour more than I am. So it's
She's
a
very
good dynamic.
passionate. She's very passionate.
Awesome. She's awesome. And, we collaborate well. And I
and
tell
then what
I want.
about some of the indie films? Weren't you in Clinton Road? And
Well, yeah, we just talked about that. Yeah, I directed Clinton Road. That's the one with Ice-T and everybody I just mentioned. Chronicle of a Serial Killer, which is coming out in September. And then I did a film, Alter Ego, with Dylan Walsh, which it's basically him and I in the whole movie as an actor. I have a couple bigger things coming out that I have to actually. I was just in LA for, but I really can't say yet because I signed an NDA. But yeah, I mean, again, I'm blessed, and then we're working on another film called Red Money, which basically we got Kevin Dillon so far, Busta Rhymes, and a couple others that again I have to wait to say. But yeah, I mean, the one thing I have to tell anybody who watches this, who's starting out is, again, just keep grinding, keep doing your own thing. Don't wait for your phone to ring. Just, do your own stuff. And
yeah, I think now with the studios, et cetera, in this pandemic, everybody, it's like almost a free for all. It's every man for himself. Try to get work, make work, and be creative. Turn on your juices and get going. Now with the fifth borough, is there any kind of a message? Anything that we might learn? Is there any hopes for any kind of a transformation in a person when they watch your movie?
No, there is no hope because the reason why I say that is again, first of all, it's not like a gangster film at all. So that's, I don't want people to think it's a same old gangster stuff. The Nico character is very rootable because it's basically you'll do anything for your family, and as a father in real life and as somebody, if I was put in that situation, let me take that back. The message is really there's nothing, or there's no depth you would not go down to help out your family or your children. Yeah. That's the message. When I say no, I'm not a big Hollywood ending type guy. I like endings that are more real life, right? So if sometimes the killer in a film doesn't get maybe he gets out of jail. If somebody is on drugs, maybe they die. They overdose. I don't believe in, at the end everybody's hunky dory, and that's because that's not real. So when I say certain things, I'm saying it because not everything's always a happy ending. Sometimes people in our lives get sick, and you don't make a wish and they're back and everything's okay. Sometimes they unfortunately leave us. So that's what I mean with the not a great message. That's what I mean by that. But the message.
There's a lot of sorrow, and unfortunately, we're going through it. At some point in our life, we're going through some kind of sorrow.
Right. So the message is, and I'm going to rephrase that. The message is basically there's nothing you wouldn't do to help out your family, and that's what Nico is confronted with.
Now, Steve, let me ask you, when you were growing up, what were some of your favorite TV shows?
That's a great question. Again, I'm 48, so my brother and sister were 10, 11 years older than me, so there's a big gap. So I kind of like stuff that somebody my age normally wouldn't like. I would say like I had Happy Days back then was a good, Happy Days. I think we used to follow Laverne and Shirley would follow, but that's like I said in the '70s when I was a kid. Shows like that, like Barney Miller.
What about movies? Any movies leave an impact on you, or just that you really liked?
Yeah. I mean, The Outsiders I loved as a kid. All the Rockies, obviously. Scarface, Jaws. I mean, what's better than Jaws? Even today, if I'm in a beach and I put my foot in the water, I still think of Jaws. So And that's the power of film.
Right.
But yes, I mean,
And what about all the things that went wrong during the filming of that and with Steven Spielberg, and it ended up to his advantage? They had trouble with that mechanical
right.
shark, and
Wait, that
and
shark
who
was
would have known when you watch it?
that shark was fake?
Of
No,
course.
no, 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 absolutely. And that was Spielberg's first big film.
Yes.
So he was under the gun on
They
that
thought
because
they were giving him a lemon. They thought they might have been giving him a lemon. He made lemonade, as you were speaking about earlier, right?
there you go. So I would have liked to be a fly on the wall back then because here you get your first break, right, and then doing a film, and the main piece of the film, which is a mechanical shark, it keeps breaking down. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, again,
Well,
like I
he
said,
was just a genius, and he was able to just prove it. You work around things.
and
What do
that's
you?
what you got. That's what you got to do.
That's what you got to do. So tell me, Steve, what are some of your favorite dishes? Because right now we can't go to restaurants and things, but if they were open, what do you gravitate towards? Italian?
Oh wow. Well, taking us back when we started this whole pandemic, right? After week one, I was up like 10 pounds. I'm like, oh man. So I'm usually kind of eat healthy, but the fact that I get to eat one meal a week, that's anything I want. Uh, I would say Italian, pizza,
Uh-huh.
stuff like that. I would say more. I would say if I had one last meal, it would be some Italian meal. Absolutely.
So now with the pandemic, you have to tutor your children at home. How is that going?
Well, that's going great because my wife's doing that all. So that's so. But the problem is, I have 5-year-old twins and a 7-year-old, so they're not there enough to kind of navigate the computer themselves. So she's
Uh-huh.
got to kind of sit with each one of them,
Yes.
and each one of them gets a full day's lesson. So she's kind of perfected a little bit, but it was a little dicey in the beginning. So yeah, thank God for her because she takes the brunt of that. So, but again, you appreciate teachers now.
Yes, right, right. There's videos going out of the first day of school and the parents actually throwing the kids out of the school bus, not even walking them to the door, like, enough.
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah.
crazy.
All of our grocery workers, we realize, what they're up against, that they're there. The invisible people are suddenly very visible, right? And
Right,
we're
right,
grateful for them, our sanitation men, and of course our doctors and our nurses and everybody working in the hospitals, and
right.
it's everybody coming together. We come together. It's really amazing that it's worldwide. I mean, if it's any comfort, it's so disastrous that we're all in this. So
Right.
I'm sure there'll be a lot of stories coming from this pandemic. And do you think you'll be doing anything
No,
along that line? No,
absolutely.
you've
If I
had
had it,
enough.
Helen, if I had $100 bill for everybody that's either came to me and said we should do a documentary about the pandemic, we should do a film about the pandemic, or I'm working on meaning them, or working on something about the pandemic, I would be probably a 10-time millionaire. No, I don't want to relive this, and
Enough.
enough.
Well,
You know what I mean? And
Steve,
again, it's going to be so overdone.
yeah.
It's just not original. You know what I mean?
Well, Steve, I thank you so much. It's been wonderful chatting with you, and I'm so excited for the fifth borough coming out. Are there any websites where we can find out more? I'll try to get the trailer into this show. Don't know if I can, but you do have a trailer.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Just June 3rd. Check it out. The Fifth Borough on demand. Any network. That whatever your carrier is. Check it out. You can check out the Fifth Borough page on Facebook, on Instagram. Myself, I'm at Steve Stanulis on Instagram, on Facebook, and there's a lot of updates on a regular basis. So check it out. Fifth Borough on June 3rd.
I certainly will. And break a leg.
Thank you.
This is my cross, it's my burden. I'll deal with it.
I guess I got one question for you. What are you willing to sacrifice for your family right now?
Just scared, Daddy.
Why would he?
This isn't about you. This is about her. Plan of attack is to deliver a highly concentrated dose of radiation.
You sure you want to go down this road again?
No parent should ever have to worry about losing a child.
See this? You told me to take care of things. And I did.
You do it as long as I tell you if you want to stay out of the joint.
We all have been reckless.
Get out of the car.
Oh, yeah,
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
Yeah.
We would do anything. We love you so much. But you need help.
I'll get Nancy to whack the guy.
You gotta use our heads here, okay? We're old school.
That's for sure.
Why are you doing this?
Split 5 ways, that's $84,000 each.
I've been banging around with my uncle. I'm just trying to save my daughter's life.
You're not my brother anymore. But these young kids, they need to learn lesson the hard way, huh?